Hello, Eurovision friends. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, Eurovision Histories. We now know all the songs from semi-final 2 of Eurovision 2024, and I want to predict who will make it to the grand final of Eurovision, which 10 songs will make it, which 6 songs will not. And to do that, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. So I'm looking at the qualification rate over the last 10 years of each country. I will also look at the current position in the Eurovision scoreboard app. I will look at the odds as they are at the moment, and also a bit at which other countries are in the semifinal that usually are culturally close to the other country and might vote for that reason, or maybe someone is a star in a country that is participating. Of course, the scoreboard is imperfect because not only do all the Eurovision fans vote, it's also the Eurovision fans from the country itself. So that kind of distorts the results a little bit. And I do understand that the odds are for who will win, but still they're kind of an indicator on who people think will be popular and thus maybe also what people like themselves. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about a few points in general that are true in general and that we should keep in mind when making a prediction. First of all, this is a televote only semifinal. There are no juries. Some fans still think that there are juries in the semifinal. There are not. So this will be good for the songs that are more televote friendly. Also, being later in the running order is usually better than being earlier in the running order. Why is that? Because some people tune in late and only see the last couple of songs. And also there's a recency effect that you remember the last song you heard more than the 16th song, the first song that was performed. Even though the voting lines will open before the first song is performed, I think most people, and we saw that in 2010 and 2011 when that also happened, will wait until all the songs have been performed and then vote. So that won't change that as much. Also, you can only vote for a song, not against a song. So songs that are in genres that are usually quite niche, for example, folk rock, for example. If you have a small group of people loving this entry and voting for it, that is all you need to qualify, I think, because the 95% that are overwhelmed by it and don't like the entry, I mean, they can't vote against it, and so it might qualify. Also, we have to remember that the 3 automatic qualifiers that will perform in the semifinal but also vote in the semifinal are Spain, France, and Italy, which is quite interesting that all the Romance-speaking countries are in semi 2, and all the countries with Germanic languages, Germany, Sweden, and the UK, are in semi 1. And that might be important for some countries that we will talk about. Now, let's get to the prediction. I've done a lot of talking, sorry. If you've been to this channel before, you know this sheet that I have here. The closer a country's flag is towards the bottom, the less likely I think it is to qualify. The closer it is towards the top, the more likely it is to qualify. And the dotted line you can see is the line of qualification. If you're above it, you're in the final. If you're below it, you're out of it, of course, according to my prediction. Now, let's get right to it. The first country, and I think this is the country that has the best chance to qualify from the semifinal, is Switzerland. They have a 50% qualification rate. However, they are currently first in the Eurovision scoreboard and first in the odds. When I say first, I mean of the 16 countries and songs that are competing in this semifinal. I think it's a very extraordinary and special song. I personally didn't like it the first time I listened to it, but it has grown on me immensely and is now in my top 5. And I think a lot of people will connect to this and will like this. It is in the first half, but I don't think it will be too hurt by this. And so I think Switzerland is probably the most likely to qualify. Other than maybe the Netherlands, Europapa with Joost Klein, because it is just a very televote-friendly song. They are currently, let me check, 6th in the scoreboard, which is not that good actually, but 2nd in the odds, only behind Switzerland from the countries in the semifinal. And the song has kind of become a bit of a local hit in the Netherlands, but also in Belgium. And Belgium is, of course, in this same semifinal and will vote for it. And I think that's an assured 12 points. It's a bit sad that Germany is not voting in the semifinal because I think that might have been another 12 points, but I don't think he needs it, and I think Joost Klein will make it. Next up, we have Greece with Marina Satti, kind of on the same level as the Netherlands. Why is that? She's currently second in the Eurovision scoreboard, but as I said, that might be a lot of Greek people voting for it, but we don't know. I personally love the entry as well. And she is sixth in the odds. There's no Cyprus in the semifinal, but we have Albania, Spain, and Armenia, which usually vote or historically have voted a lot for Greece. And I do think that especially Albania and Armenia will also love this entry for its traditional elements. There's a bit of a reggaeton aspect to it. I think the staging will be impactful and it will be televote friendly. And so I don't have a lot of doubt that Greece will be in the final. Then let's go to the bottom, I'm sorry, but there I have Malta. Malta, let me check, is currently 15th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 14th in the odds. So both of them kind of predict that they will not make it to the final. And then the countries that usually vote for it are the UK, Ireland, Sweden, and they are not in this semifinal. And I just personally think that the song is lacking a lot of song. It's a very good performance, and maybe you could say that it is very televote friendly and lots of people will vote for it. But seeing, the people voting on the scoreboard and also the odds, I don't really think that you can predict that based on these facts. Next up, I have Czechia, which also has a bit of a problem. They are 12th in the scoreboard and 15th in the odds. Here you could say they might improve the staging a lot, the vocal performance a lot. And if that happens, the song is actually quite good and catchy, and they might be able to scrape through. But it is also in the first part of the semifinal, which has a lot of female-led songs, and most of the other singers in that first half are better than Aiko, I'm afraid, actually. She might improve a lot, and that might change, but for now, it's a non-qualification, unfortunately. Next up, we go back up. I have Norway with Gorte. This might just be the effect I just talked about, that some people absolutely love this and will pick up the phone and vote for it, and some others might absolutely not like it, but they cannot vote against it. And Norway has a very good qualification rate of 90%, and I think 4 years in a row now. They are also 5th in the Eurovision scoreboard at the moment and 7th in the odds. They have Denmark to support them and the Netherlands. The other countries are kind of missing, but in this case, I don't think they need it. I think there are enough folk rock fans in Europe that will like this performance. It's also a visually impactful performance that will get a few televotes, I'm quite sure. Then I have Belgium with Musti, a 70% qualification rate over the last 10 years. That's what it is. He is 4th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 3rd in the odds, so doing really, really well. The Netherlands are in the semifinal to support it. France is in here, even though they usually vote for Belgium, I think, more when they send songs in French. But the song itself is just a quality standout. It's more of a jury song, I do think, but I think it's just good enough to make it to the final, I'm quite sure. And I think the staging will be impressive as well. Now, so the light just went out, but that kind of fits my next prediction, because this kind of breaks my heart, but I'm predicting Latvia not to qualify. What is this based on? They have a 20% only qualification rate over the last 10 years. They are 13th currently in the Eurovision scoreboard, 13th also in the odds. And Ireland, UK, Lithuania, yes, are not voting in the semi-final, unfortunately. That might have helped them a bit. It's a ballot. It's more jury-friendly than televote friendly. It is in the second half, which is good, but I just feel like the other songs in the semi-final are just too strong and more televote friendly for this to actually make it. But I'm so sad. So I will vote for them if I can't, sorry. But I would vote for them just to make them qualify for the final, but I don't think it is happening. Next up, back up there, we have Austria with We Will Rave. I personally don't really like this song, but a lot of fans do, obviously. 3rd in the Eurovision scoreboard, 5th in the odds out of the songs in the semi-final. They have a 50% qualification rate, so 50-50 kind of. Switzerland is in this semi-finals, Belgium as well. and they have historically voted for Austrian entries, and it's just the kind of song that will get people going. I think this might be the opener of the semi-final, and that might help it a bit to stay in people's heads as well, and that's why I'm predicting it to qualify. Next up, I have Armenia, the song that was just released. So it's a bit unfair, actually, because they haven't had enough time to go up the Eurovision scoreboard. But just looking at where they are at the moment, they are 8th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 9th in the odds. So that is already confirming that they will probably qualify. France is in the semifinal. Georgia is in the semifinal. Greece is in the semifinal. In the Netherlands, they have historically voted for Armenia. And the song is good. I think it's quite similar, not really similar, but it's in a similar genre as Greece. And I think Greece is a little bit better as a song, personally, I think. But I think it will be enough to qualify, definitely. Then, back down there, we have San Marino. Even though they will have 12 points from Spain, probably, because Megara, of course, are from Spain. The song is in Spanish. But San Marino is currently 14th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 16th in the odds, so last in the odds. And countries that usually vote for them are Albania, Malta, Azerbaijan, Greece, and Georgia. Some of them are in here. And, I mean, the song is good. I like the song. And I think it might actually... I don't know. I cannot predict that it will make it because of the stats I just told you, but maybe it will make it because of a very good performance. But for now, I have to predict that it will not, even though I'm a big Megara fan, especially of the last song they had, not this year. So much. Okay, next up, we have Denmark. This might be a bit... I mean, I've seen a lot of fans liking this. Where are they currently? In the scoreboard, they are 11th out of the songs that are in the semifinal and 12th in the odds. So that kind of tells you that they're really on the borderline and they're quite close to the line. But I just think they only have Norway to support them, really. Maybe, yeah, probably only Norway, actually. So I kind of don't really see who would vote for the song, especially because it's in the first half of the semifinal, again, with a lot of female-led pop songs that are a bit similar. And most of the other ones have something that make them more unique than Sand. So I'm predicting Denmark for now not to qualify. Next up, I have Israel. This is very hard to predict because with everything that is going on around this entry, I mean, I can't really look to past editions and say in a similar case this song made it and this song didn't make it. So I have no idea actually what will happen, but looking at the stats, Israel is currently 7th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 4th in the odds. So that would point towards it qualifying. The song musically and from the composition is more of a jury song, and this is a televote only semi-final. So all of this to say that I really don't know, and I think both scenarios could happen, actually. Next up, very close on the line of qualification, I have Estonia, a bit surprisingly for me, actually, because I thought that this would be a very televote-friendly song, and it is, I think. It is very catchy, but when you look at the stats, 9th in the scoreboard and 11th in the odds. Again, these are odds for winning Eurovision, but still it's a bit of an indication. They don't have Finland, they don't have Lithuania, they don't have Sweden. Ireland also sometimes votes for them. So that kind of lets me think that this might be a bit difficult, actually. But in the end, I think they will make it because you see that they're above the line of qualification. Now, I think that leaves two countries, yes, Georgia and Albania, kind of borderline. And if you look at the stats that we have at the moment, Georgia is 10th in the Eurovision scoreboard and 8th in the odds. And Albania, let me see, A is up there, 16th, so last in the scoreboard and 10th in the odds. Albania has a big plus, which is that Greece, Switzerland, and Italy, which usually vote heavily for Albania, especially in the semifinals, are in this semifinal. I think it was not a good idea to change the song to English because I think Albanian would have made it stand out a bit more. It's also a bit overproduced now after the revamp, but still, because Albania has the support, I'm gonna say that they will make it. And so my prediction is that Latvia, Czechia, San Marino, Malta, Denmark, and Georgia will not make it, and the others will. However, lots of things that we don't know yet, the staging, how the public will react to certain songs. So this is just a very first prediction. Let me know in the comments what you think will happen in semifinal 2. And please be civil and nice. Please subscribe to this channel because the prediction for semifinal 1 will be coming once Azerbaijan has released their song. And I will see you then, and bye-bye.